a reading from a book called The Multiplier Effect that I wrote with Mike Martin and Jonathan Peach, and it's a challenging section. But what we're interested in is giving leaders things that are appropriate for them right now. All right, and the aim of the book was, well, what I'm about to read has got massive tonnage for leaders in the modern world. Right, so I'm asking you to hang in there for 4 or 5 minutes while I read you an extract. And this is, we're bottom of page 51. And it's actually subtitled, you'll need shoulder pads and running shoes, which is a bit of a weird subtitle, but that's good, isn't it? Off we go. Comfortable? Crack on, right? You'll need your listening ears on for this. So, away we go. Imagine a workplace that was engaging and fun. Suspend your disbelief just for a second and consider what that workplace would be like if, at the end of the working day, your employees were more energized than when they logged on. Right? So rather than draining them, workers invigorated them. Now, it's an interesting notion. The question is, how? Now, none of us really understand American football. We're not sure anybody does. But the bit we do get is that the quarterback is a key player, as are the wide receivers. So the quarterback's job is not to throw the ball directly to the wide receiver, but to throw the ball to where the wide receiver is going to be. So for this next section, we're going to play the quarterback, and you are the fleet-footed wide receiver, right? Helmet on, pads on, off you go, that way. Meantime, let's zip through some colours as suggested by Frederick Laloux. So orange organisations are traditional, often described as mechanistic. If they still exist at all, they're taken on water, Titanic style. Their inappropriateness for the modern world, plain for all to see. This is where managers still do the thinking and the workers do the working. The lifeboats are mustered and the clever folk have already abandoned ship on that one. Most organisations have done what the expensive consultants have told them to do and set about creating nice places to work. So these are so-called green organisations. They've made the necessary changes. They've shimmied up the evolutionary scale to equip themselves for the here and now of the modern world. They've done the empowerment and the self-managed teams thing. Decisions have been pushed down to those in the trenches, with the thinking is that they're closer to the mud so they'll know what needs doing. Managers are tasked with giving up power and becoming servant leaders. Their job is to listen, empower, motivate and coach. It works a bit sometimes. But quite often, despite what the organisation espouses, the reality felt by the employees is the opposite. So while the managers talk a good talk, the feeling of those with their faces in the mud is one of no purpose. Spartan resources. Managers making all the decisions while they're up to their eyeballs in... Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So what colour comes next? Right, at the radical end of the organisational design spectrum is what we call teal organisations. Now there's a big fat chance that you've never heard that term before, so we think it'll be coming on stream in the next few years. So the teal paradigm applies to the modern world of work and is more aligned to human consciousness than traditional organisational thinking. So command and control hierarchies, service level agreements, job descriptions, all the traditional staples of the last 150 years are swept away. People's actions are guided not by orders from someone up the food chain of command, but by listening to the organisation's purpose. Teal is characterised by rapid change and adaptation, as adjustments are continually made to better serve the organisation's purpose. Now hang in there. Before you dismiss its green, blue tealness as pink and fluffy, remember, you're still metaphorically sprinting to where the organisational ball's going to be. You're off that way. Traditional organisations have always been places that encourage people to show up with a narrow professional self and to check other parts of the persona at the door. So rationality and a cool business head have been the order of the day, while the emotional, intuitive and spiritual parts of ourselves often feel unwelcome and out of place. Teal organisations are about wholeness as well as purpose. There are a few trailblazing organisations who've developed a set of practices that invite us to reclaim our inner wholeness and bring all of who we are to work. Teal organisations are seen as having a life and a sense of direction of their own. Instead of trying to predict and control the future, members of the organisation are invited to listen in and understand what the organisation wants to become, what purpose it wants to serve. Laloux daringly suggests it's as if someone put $1 billion into your psychological account. Teal organisations refer to themselves as living systems. Life consists of ecosystems, each separate yet inextricably connected. Change in nature happens everywhere, all the time, in a self-organising urge that comes from every cell in every organism. There's no need for central command and control to give orders or to pull nature's levers. Teal takes this concept into leadership, into thinking, creativity, purpose, even consciousness. If leadership is everyone's responsibility, then you don't need leaders. I know, it's supposed to scare you. It's your classic turkeys don't vote for Christmas. Leaderless organisations, we'd be designing ourselves out of a job. And it'd be anarchy with no leaders, right? Yeah, perhaps. Time will tell. The American football, leadership football, is still in the air. We think it's worth positioning yourself for where it's going to land. We'll come back to Teal in the final chapter. Meantime, here's an easy way to think about Teal, and it's to reflect that at some point you'll have rented a car. Most likely this will have been on holiday. So here's a question for you. Before you returned your car to the airport, did you wash it? No, of course you didn't. Why on earth not? Because it's not yours, that's why. To be truthful, you probably didn't treat it very well either. Bringing the concept to your team. Are your people renting or owning? Organisations that achieve ownership will be rewarded with genuine and loving care. Teal is about owning. Big themes.